Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about Rep Paladin gearing for Season 4. This is something that's interested me before, a little bit of a look ahead, a bit early too, but something that could interest you, and just kind of have this in your back pocket, or maybe you'll be watching this video closer to when Season 4 comes out. So, I did a bunch of simulations with a bunch of different pieces of gear, mostly trying to focus on things that you can kind of control what you get, like the dinars, which you can use to purchase weapons and trinkets, and then I'm going to mention some other things as well regarding tier sets, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about stats at the end as well. So, I mostly focus sims on single target because multi-target, it changes boss to boss, it changes dungeon to dungeon, how you would simulate that exactly, but this is mostly going to be true anyways. Obviously, Mythic Plus, you might want to run like different trinkets and stuff like that. That's always been the case. But overall, for rating purposes, this will be should be pretty spot on. Of course, let's be clear. Paladins could have something change with their tier set. Could be buffed, could be nerfed. Trinkets could change. Weapons could change, like Gavel, Jathis, and whatever. They could change, be nerfed, buffed, whatever. And then that could change all of this. And I would, make a correction video if that were the case. So, what are dinars? Dinars are a currency in Season 4 that you can obtain up to 3 of, and you use these items to purchase gear from whatever raid. So, you'll be able to choose Nathria, Domination, Sanctum Domination, Sepulture of the first ones, and you'll be able to choose whatever item you want. It starts at normal item level, so this is one we're going to be talking about anyways. So let's go over to Gavel for the Jailer. So you choose Gavel, and it'll be a normal eye level Gavel, which will probably be about the same as a Mythic eye level Gavel from this current Season 3. So you would choose that. Now, as you do more heroic clears or whatever, you can upgrade it to heroic. As you kill mythic bosses and get the mythic currency, you can then upgrade it to the new mythic, which is like item level 311 for the next season. And so in doing that, yes, you do have to take time to upgrade it, but you have the thing at least no matter what. If you get the heroic one before you get a chance to upgrade it to heroic, then that's great. You just keep the other one though, because chances are you'll probably be able to upgrade it to mythic before you'd ever have a chance to get a mythic one. So that's kind of how that works. So you get 3 of these. They can only be used on weapons and trinkets. Since we use as Ret just one two-handed weapon, and in this case there's one that's the answer for everything. Then you have 2 trinkets that you could get as well. And other than that, you don't really want to focus. And the only other thing you could do is maybe get like a prod or holy weapon, and I'll kind of talk about that as well. So for Ret, there's going to be 2 musts that you use on your dinars for. So I believe it's if you kill 10 bosses each week at least, or whatever. I don't know if I don't think it stacks normal and heroic, so you have to kill clear the raid each week essentially. Whatever raid is active, you have to clear that each week, and after 3 weeks you'll get your first dinar. The thing you should spend it on, even if you already got like the normal one from the raid, is the Gavel from the Jailer. This is going to be your hugest DPS upgrade compared to anything else. I sim this against Jathis, and it's just much better. It's not quite twice as good, but it's close. At 311 item level, Gavel is just very, very good, and Jathis is very good too, just not as good as Gavel. Now, if you're like a Fury Warrior, you could do Gavel plus Jathis and be sitting pretty in that way, but Gavel is going to be the one you want first. That's a must. The other must you're going to want to do is in Sanctum of Domination, the Old Warrior Soul from Sylvanas. Now this will of course be 311 when you max it out at mythic level, and this of course is the trinket that just is going to carry your trinkets. Essentially, it's almost twice as good as any other trinket that you could have. Not, maybe like instead of 100% is good, maybe it's like 50% or 70% or 170%, whatever, as good. It's by far the best trinket for Ret Paladin to get. And then for your third one, now I didn't sim every possible combination of trinkets, but I simmed quite a few. And this one could be the one that's interesting here. So the first sigil is still going to be good. So this would be at, it wouldn't be 311 because it's not from an end boss, so it would be like 304 first sigil, I believe, is what it would be in Season 4. And this is going to simulate very similar to IQD. Of course, that's assuming IQD always, hits the right proc, and it assumes that you got IQD out of your vault and not from the dungeon with the Valor upgrades, because it's only at the same item level that IQD kind of overtakes it, but it's really just kind of equal either way, the first sigil and IQD. So the issue with sigil is, so this is the best other trinket to get with your dinars. Now, it is possible that you kill Mythic Prototype Pantheon before you would get your third dinar, which would be 6 weeks in, so a month and a half in. It's definitely possible that you kill Mythic Prototype Pantheon by then, even though the raid switches every week. You will have had 2 shots at Mythic. Like, I don't know if we'll be able to start in Mythic or not, but you will have had 2 shots to do Sepulture at that point. And so it's definitely possible that you have this already. So if you have a Mythic first sigil already, then obviously you're not going to use your dinar on a normal item level first sigil. At that point, there really aren't any other trinkets that are worth getting. So something that you could possibly do is, just for fun or just for other activities, you could get Dreadfire Vessel from Sardonathrius. This is not going to be a DPS upgrade or anything like that, but it is kind of just a cool thing. At 310 item or 311 item level, it does quite a bit of damage too, baseline damage. It just isn't enough. It's very similar to other trinkets, but it just isn't enough. I tried Stone Legion Heraldry as well. That's not going to do anything really for you either. So your best bet might be to choose like a prot weapon or a holy weapon instead, if you play the other specs. And if not, your third dinar could be wasted. But, the reality is not everybody's going to have the first sigil already when they get their third dinar. So you can just get that and upgrade that up to the Mythic first sigil, and at least just be set on those pieces of gear. Now, again, the first sigil isn't mandatory at all because IQD is very similar. You can get that from a dungeon. The normal trinkets are still going to be good. Pretty much a lot of the trinkets are very similar to each other. As far as like Stone Legion Heraldry is very similar to File as far as overall damage. Obviously, that wouldn't be the case in like Mythic Plus because that's assuming other people have the Stone Legion General Trinket as well. But a lot of them are like an added, 200 DPS or so for a single target, and so they're very similar, give or take. And overall, my plan will be to do what I said: Gavel first, Old Warrior Soul second, and then third first sigil, unless I somehow already have a Mythic first sigil, which I don't really think I will. Now, so that's how your dinars are going to work. That's probably how you should be gearing up. Of course, again, I already said this, but it could be nerfed. Like the Gavel of the First Arbiter could be nerfed for Season 4, and maybe it's worse than Jaethys now, or Jaethys gets buffed. And that could change that, of course. But if Jaethys gets buffed, even if Gavel just gets nerfed and Jaethys stays where it's at, Jaethys would still be your first choice. It's just a larger DPS upgrade than Old Warrior Soul, even though Old Warrior Soul is definitely something that you want as well. So, tier sets. So tier sets are still going to be around in Season 4. Now, you don't have to worry about having to get them from Sepulture, although that's definitely possible as well, because you'll be able to upgrade your stuff with the Catalyst, and the stuff does carry over. Your charges carry over going into Season 4, they said, so that's really good. So, if we look here on Terragru and Sanctum, so let's say Sanctum's up, and you're able to kill Terragru on Mythic difficulty, so that would be the 304 item level. You would then immediately be able to take these hands from Terragru to the Catalyst and get your 304 tier hands, and start already having your max tier. So that'll be cool. You'll be able to get Mythic tier pretty quickly. Obviously, eventually you'd want to get something off one of the last bosses, like a helmet off of Kel'Thuzad, and change that into a helm tier that's now 311 instead of 304. Right, so that's something down the line you want to do. But these Catalyst charges they save up. You're still going to get more charges of it, so you'll be able to get your tier set really quickly is the point. So you still want to focus on your tier set. You should be able to get it really quickly with the Catalyst. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about stats. going into Season 4. So like any expansion, towards the end of the expansion, we'll have a base level of stats that's pretty high. So your crit could, your crit's going to vary where it's at now. Mine's a little low, but your crit's probably somewhere around 20%-ish right now. Your haste is probably somewhere around 20%-ish, maybe a little bit higher if you're really working on like a haste build towards your set bonuses to trying to get more procs. And your mastery, it's going to be somewhere, mine's actually pretty high, but it's going to be somewhere between like 45 and 55 probably, somewhere in that range. And then versatility is going to just, be all over the place. Some people are going to have 0 versatility. Some people are going to have 10 or 12% versatility. Your versatility can be everywhere. So what you're going to see is, your crit's going to probably stay about the same. It's going to go up a little bit because stats get bigger. Your haste will go up a little bit naturally. Your mastery will probably be about the same or a little bit higher. And then, the same thing with everything, right? But then you're gonna see the diminishing returns on certain things. So especially your crit. So your crit, let's say it's at 20% now. Maybe it goes up to 22, 24%, something like that. And, you don't really want to stack any more crit other than that. Haste could be the outlier here, because perhaps stacking haste will help with our set bonus enough that you do want to stack haste. So maybe you'll see some paladins with some ridiculous haste builds going on. That's possible. That's until further notice. But like most expansions, I believe at the end, we're probably going to be doing like mastery and verse to just, increase pure damage. So mastery increasing our holy damage, and then versatility just increasing damage in general. I believe that's probably what we'll be stacking. Also, versatility is always nice as far as it's defensive as well. So I also kind of think this is for Mythic Plus and not really part of this, but like in Mythic Plus, I think a lot of people for higher keys will be choosing the versatility buff for themselves, just because you'll be able to survive mechanics instead of getting one shot by them. So that can be quite valuable. So that's what I kind of see with the stats going. Same as most expansions, where it's kind of versatility mastery at the end. But we could have some really interesting haste builds that affect our tier set in a positive way. And so I'll definitely be keeping a lookout for that as we get closer to Season 4. I did want to put this out, this video out, because it's something that interested me, trying to figure out what I should do with these dinars and what I should be doing. And the biggest thing, for Rhett, it happens to be quite easy. Get a gavel, get an old warrior soul. After that, it doesn't really matter, because you'll eventually get a first sigil either way. And now this is really cool for like if you're a heroic raider and you don't do mythic, because you only have to kill some mythic bosses. Like you don't have to kill the boss that drops the item. So if you get your gavel, your normal gavel with a dinar, and you're a heroic raider, you only have to kill a certain amount of mythic bosses to get the currency to then eventually upgrade your gavel to a mythic gavel. So everyone's going to be able to take part in some of this really cool gear with your dinars or whatever. So gavel, old warrior soul are the musts, because they just increase your DPS the most. And yeah, that's it for this one, guys. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.